Hello and welcome to today's webinar. We're so happy to have you here with us. Today, I will be talking to you about how to protect your property from last-minute cancellations. My name is Nathan Mayfield. I'm Vice President of ResNexus. A little bit about myself. I have over 21 years of marketing experience, 12 years of operational experience. I've worked for companies large and small, from mom and pop design companies all the way up to large billion-dollar company where I worked closely with the president. I've worked at ResNexus for over 8 years, and I love learning, serving, and helping our clients grow. In addition, I'm a member of Forbes Business Council, and I regularly write articles for them in regards to topics that impact the hospitality industry. When I'm not at work, I love vacationing with my family. This is my wife, Megan, daughter, Ava Lee, and my son, Mason. We went to Universal in Florida recently and had a great time. This is at us in Gringotts Bank in Harry Potter World. I don't know if you guys are aware, but their motto is the safest place on earth, which I think is really funny and clever. Here's a quick outline of the topics I will be going over today. First is the post-pandemic travel behavior. Next is how we can learn from the past and update our policies to prepare for the future. How you can reduce your cancellation rate by using targeted messaging sooner. Then how to offer flexible cancellation options. And lastly, to reduce your cancellation liability and increase revenue by allowing your guests to purchase enhanced refund terms. Let's start with the travel industry. It was long considered one of the lowest risk sectors of the economy. Whether there was an economic boom or recession, most hotels, bed and breakfasts, or campgrounds were able to fill their occupancy and meet their revenue goals. However, that all changed with the pandemic. It caused chaos and uncertainty. Almost everyone I know, including myself, have had people we care about pass away due to COVID. And I've had some family members get really sick. So far in the US, since the start of the pandemic, we've had over 1 million deaths, 6.3 million worldwide. Things like this affect all of us, and it leaves us wondering what the long-lasting effects will be. One change we saw was a quick shift to cleanliness and safety. In a study recently released, 54% of travelers still pick their destination based off of strong COVID-19 safety protocols. In addition, 70% of travelers want properties to clearly list health and hygiene policies. In the past couple of months, I've reflected once again about how now I see the staff cleaning. What was once hidden until 2 a.m. is now done in broad daylight. I think there are multiple reasons for that, but staffing shortages are definitely one of them. With COVID relief bills, it is hard to find and retain labor. As of February 2022, nearly 3/4, or 73% of all jobs still lost due to the pandemic were in the leisure and hospitality industry. That is a total loss of 1.4 million jobs from the 2019 levels. Business travel was also greatly impacted. How much was business travel worth in 2019? Around $1.4 trillion. Unfortunately, during 2020, it dropped to $661 billion, a decline of over 53%. Business travel recovered to around $754 billion in 2021, but is still not projected to come back to pre-pandemic levels till 2024. The bottom line is that hotels who depend on business travel will continue to have a slower recovery at this time. Probably the biggest change is how COVID affected cancellation and guest expectations. Recent research shows that cancellation rates have increased dramatically over the past 2 years. In the years leading up to the pandemic, we saw rates between 11 and 13% on average. But of course, in 2020, we saw that rate more than double to nearly 36% of reservations being canceled or rescheduled. And during 2021, that rate was still far higher than it's been in the past, sitting around 32%. According to some recent research for 2022, it seems to be settling in around 1 in 5, or 20% so far. That's still 8% higher than pre-pandemic levels. Late last year, Expedia created a travel value index to better understand the impact of the pandemic on travel behavior and help their travel partners adapt to ever-evolving traveler preferences. The Travel Value Index asked respondents to rank the volume values across multiple travel experiences: the ability to get a refund, atypical low pricing, contactless experience, environmental friendly policies, enhanced cleaning, flexible policies, to change booking and first-class benefits and upgrades. The results were surprising. Price, which before was always the number one value, fell behind full refunds and enhanced cleaning. How did the traveler values rank? And what does this mean? It means the primary focus for today's travelers is flexibility and safety. With the ability to get a full refund being number one, and flexible policies to change bookings being number four, which is interesting because they're both about flexibility. And if we pair those values with the top two safety items, we see that 2/3 or 66% of guests are seeking flexibility and safety. Across travel segments, hotels, vacation rentals, air, and car rentals, 1 in 4 travelers now value full refunds above all other considerations. The shift in value from price to flexibility is consistent across surveyed markets, reflecting the global scope of the pandemic and the universal need to restore stability during a time of vast uncertainty. That's why many OTAs now allow you to search by properties that offer flexible cancellation. Airbnb also has a free cancellation filter. And so wherever you post, if they're posting on an OTA, your competition has that ability to offer those settings for free cancellation. A last-minute illness has always been a major concern when traveling, and even more so in a post-COVID-19 world. In fact, a refund company called Alliance Partners USA stated that the top reason their customers are filing medical claim refunds for their travel plans fall into the following reasons: COVID-19, fractures and sprains, heart attacks, strokes, and stomach flu. Other popular reasons include a serious illness of a child or travel companion. And bottom line, post-COVID-19, 7 out of 10 travelers not only expect to be able to have flexible cancellation, they prioritize it. What's more interesting is that 30% are willing to pay for it. That means that this trend is here to stay for a long while. Now that we've established some of the traveler trends, let's move on to the next section. What can we learn from the past so that we can prepare and reduce cancellation costs in the future? Boutique hotels, bed and breakfasts, campgrounds can all learn a lot from the major airlines. Due to the pandemic, I found that most airlines now allow flight cancellations within the first 24 hours of booking, if certain conditions are met. After the 24-hour period, flights can be canceled but not immediately refunded. Instead, the customer is issued a credit or voucher that must be used within the next year, usually 12 months, toward additional travel. Obviously, the airlines have some specific stipulations that vary among brands, but overall, the idea is to have the customers committed to rebooking at a future date. This allows the airline to keep the revenue to maintain business operations. In fact, one of the first things that ResNexus did for our clients within the first 3 days of the nationwide shutdown in April 2020 was we called every single one of our clients and set up credit vouchers for them, in addition to other email marketing campaigns. The result was that many of our hoteliers stayed in business. I still cherish those heartfelt messages and emails from those clients, and I'm glad that we could provide that service. If you haven't already done so, I highly recommend that your hotel, bed and breakfast, or campground property adjust your policies to include the ability to offer a credit voucher in place of a cash or credit card refund, especially in the case of government-issued closings. This could help protect your business from the scenario where many of your guests want a refund all at the same time due to an event outside of your control. I would add something as simple as, in the event of a global pandemic or government-issued shutdown, we reserve the right to offer a credit voucher in place of a cash or credit card refund. This credit voucher can be used for a future stay for up to 12 months from the original arrival date. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's look at how you can reduce your cancellation rate by keeping your guests engaged and informed. I already mentioned that cancellation rates are higher than pre-pandemic levels. However, I wanted to introduce a newer travel trend called trip stacking. This trend became increasingly popular as COVID-19 disrupted travel plans around the world. Trip stacking is when travelers book 2 or more trips within the same time frame. And once the departure date approaches, they will keep one trip and cancel all the alternate options. For example, I recently went on a trip to Orlando and the line to the thrifty rental car was out, it was over an hour long. I quickly canceled that trip and then rebooked it on Expedia. I actually saved money that day and I was able to skip the line. So this growing trend is likely a huge factor in the cancellation figures we're seeing today. In fact, recent research from Revenue Hub found that around 42% of cancellations were triggered within 7 days of arrival. Clear cancellation policies and collecting deposits on confirmed bookings are great methods for hotels to prevent last-minute cancellations. But the problem is that when it comes to trip stacking, businesses are competing with each other without knowing it. So how can your property stay in the game? Keeping consistent and personalized touch points will help to keep your guests engaged. One of the best ways to do this is by using automated text messaging during the post-booking phase, especially within the 10 to 14-day time period before the arrival date. Here are some post-booking tips and what those touch points could look like. First, I would simply confirm the purchase with their reservation details, like we see here. They personalize it with the guest name, Nathan. I love it. But what takes this message to the next level is that they also mention their bar and things to do. Next, I would keep them interested by sending another message, maybe a week before, about something they might be interested in, like a local attraction. In this example, it's a famous swinging bridge. They also provide a link. This builds excitement and makes the trip seem more real. In fact, Google calls this trip or travel snacking, which is what a lot of people do just before they're about to go on vacation to reinforce or share with friends, all, hype up that we're about to go on a road trip kind of feeling. And to reduce high cancellation risks, you could offer added value with a discount, free retail item, or a complimentary service. Again, I would personalize your offer in this message, by using your guest name and show a picture of the offer. In this example, the property invites the guest to a free drink at the roof lounge with a beautiful view and shows the menu. Now we're even upselling the experience. Next, maybe the day of, make sure to address a need. It could be as simple as collecting a payment so they can go straight to their room, as you see in this example, or providing map directions or stating your safety and cleaning guidelines. Finally, keep it simple. By doing one or two of these touch points, you help remove doubts, stand out, and reaffirm that these guests made the right booking decision with a fantastic first impression even before they arrive. It lets the guests know that you're the one to commit to if they are trip stacking. On a side note, it kind of hits the guilt factor too. I know when my mom says she's looking forward to my call, I feel guilty if I don't call. The same goes with post-booking texts. They help reduce your no-show rate because you've actually fostered and built a relationship, however little at the beginning, and that helps you stand out, right? When people are giving me offers, I'm like, oh, if I'm choosing between two of them, I'm going to go with the one that sweetened the deal. Let's move on to the next topic, offering flexible cancellation using multiple rate types. Many properties are already doing this, but I mention it because I'm often surprised at how many do not. I recommend offering a higher rate for flexible cancellations and a lower rate for non-refundable cancellation policies. Remember, it's all about providing your guests with options. By listing your rates this way, people will naturally choose the more flexible refund option, while the die-hard bargain shoppers will be locked in and more committed for a lower price. I recommend allowing at least a 24-hour cancellation period, which provides a full refund for both options, similar to the airlines, right? And also, this helps prevent undue burden if you're too rigid. Giving your staff that 24-hour period means that they don't have to deal with angry customers. In addition, you could use attribute-based shopping by calling attention during the shopping process with sidebars or must-see pages, or simply lower cancellation rates by adding value through add-ons during their booking process. Remember, I just mentioned the ability to get a full refund was the #1 value that travelers wanted according to that recent Expedia study. And around 30% of travelers are willing to pay for that flexibility. So why not offer that as an option as well? Another way to offer flexible cancellation is to seek out a trip protection service. This is a fairly recent trend that is gaining popularity. There are a lot of travel protection services that protect the guest. I see that OTAs more and more are offering them. But what is new and that your business should look for is a travel protection service that also reimburses the individual hotel, bed and breakfast, or campground from lost revenue as a result of a last minute cancellation due to illness or health condition. One of these solutions is called Worry-Free Bookings, which is a partner of ResNexus. Worry-Free Bookings protects both your business and your guests from last minute cancellations. I find this is a good example to demonstrate how these travel protection services work. Worry-Free Bookings is a limited warranty protection service that allows your guests, for a small 10% fee, to enhance the policies or terms and conditions of an individual booking provided by your property. To be clear, this is 10% fee is paid for by the guest, not your property. So then if the worst should happen, such as an unexpected illness, injury, or other health condition, 14 days prior to their arrival date through up to 30 days after their departure date, your guests can rest easy knowing they will receive a full reimbursement minus the worry-free booking fee. What makes trip protection services like worry-free booking so unique is that it makes both parties whole. The guest gets a refund directly to their credit card, while your property gets paid for the booking amount that was lost. This lessens the financial risk of a potential health disaster to both the guest and your property. Another important item to look for in a travel protection service is if it includes illness or injury of immediate family members, whether they are in the travel party or not. Most warranty solutions don't. They only provide a reimbursement for the individuals on the reservation. How many of you have had a guest cancel because their kid got sick last minute and couldn't come? Services like worry-free bookings would have reimbursed them and you. If it happens while on site and the guest has to leave, then the travel protection service should refund the amount of the reservations that they did not use. I actually had this personally happen. I wish I would have had a travel protection service. I planned a vacation for my family for over 2 years to Hawaii. It was a grand vacation. And bless her heart, my daughter got so excited that she got very ill just as we were about to fly out for the vacation. Result was we had to leave about a day late. It really would have been nice to have a protection service that covered that day that I missed on site, because then I could have put it towards the cost of the upgrade of the plane tickets that I had to do. A good travel protection service should include injuries, whether it occurs on site or 14 days before the booking. That makes it so the guest has to leave. I know of a ski resort that always has some bad ski days every year, which means guests have to leave early due to an injury. Trees happen. So again, a good travel protection service will prorate the amount of the reservation that the guest isn't able to complete. What about a change in a pre-existing medical condition? This includes pregnancy, although it has to be a complication, not that the guest decided to go on vacation 3 days before their delivery date. Some travel protection services even include cancer that was in remission, but that came back. One situation that is good for your travel protection service to address is if a person has severe anxiety. I know that Worry-Free Bookings reimbursed a couple recently whose spouse got on site, had a panic attack, and they had to leave. That property and their guests got a full refund. I don't even like talking about this one because it's simply the worst. But again, something a good travel protection service includes is the death of an immediate family member, including grandparents. My mother-in-law lives in an apartment in my house. She's getting older and slowing down. If something happened to her while we were on vacation, it would be heartbreaking. Funerals are expensive, and it would be nice to be able to redirect my canceled travel plans to help fund those costs. And of course, if I died on vacation, a service like Worry-Free Bookings would refund my family, and the property wouldn't lose any revenue. Keep in mind that travel protection services are not an insurance policy. Insurance policies oftentimes have extensive regulations and other legal requirements. Travel protection services like Worry-Free Bookings are an optional warranty protection service. A travel protection service is similar to the optional limited warranties customers can purchase when buying a television or smartphone, except for instead of an electronic device, it protects the guest's travel plans from an unexpected illness or health condition. If you purchase that warranty protection, you have some added benefits if you need them. But if you didn't purchase the warranty protection plan and you drop your phone, you're out of luck. I know this well because another big moment in my life was my daughter. I finally got her a cell phone, and they asked if I wanted to protect it. and I had to consider how responsible my daughter was. And similar to your other protection plans, some proof is required to receive reimbursement. For example, with worry-free bookings, we have simplified it down to a doctor's note, positive COVID-19 test, or a death certificate. The proof can be for an individual traveler or a member of their immediate family. It's really an easy and low bar for a refund. In fact, the refund rate for 2021 was 96%. The 4% were those unwilling to provide a doctor's note or a COVID-19 test. Bottom line, a travel protection service helps turn a guest's unexpected health disaster into a more delightful experience. You can't help prevent the worst things from happening, but with a service like worry-free bookings, you can help make the recovery much easier. One very important factor to consider when using a travel protection service is the guest experience, because if they have a poor experience, then it reflects on your property. Worry-free bookings has worked very hard and is a good example of providing a great guest experience. Let's take a closer look.
So say the guests wanted to stay at your property over Thanksgiving. They simply add the reservation. Then as you can see, the worry-free booking option is checked and added to the reservation. The worry-free booking fee is 10% of the booking total and is added as a retail item. Just a note, to be eligible for a worry-free booking, the arrival dates have to be more than 2 days in the future. And as you can see, we have very clear verbiage as to what situations worry-free bookings will provide a refund for. At any point, the guest can uncheck the box and opt out of the worry-free booking option. So if the guest adds some retail items, the cost of those items will be refunded as well. But notice that they will increase the worry-free booking fee. If your guest puts in a gift certificate, the total cost of the reservation will remain the same, but the worry-free booking fee will not decrease. So we'll just enter the normal guest information, name, phone number, etc. So then when the guest is brought to your policies page, in addition to your normal policies, the guests see this worry-free booking section, which includes a link to the enhanced terms and conditions and other important details. They can click in 2 places. It provides very clear details and instructions. Again, at any point that the guest changes their mind, they can uncheck the box or click the Remove X button that you see there. Then we'll just finish the reservation and the guests will see their confirmation page and receive their confirmation email with the worry-free booking section that makes it easy to apply for their refund if they need it.
So that's how easy it is for the guest to protect their travel plans. Next, I'll show you how the guest applies for a refund during the eligible reimbursement time period if they need it.
So if the guest would like to apply for a refund, they simply go to their confirmation email and scroll down to the bottom to see the worry-free booking reference number and click the Apply for a Refund button. That brings the guest back to your property's online booking engine, and notice that the reference number is already passed through, so your guest only needs to input their last name and phone number and then click on the Apply for Reimbursement button. Now, a cool feature of worry-free bookings is that you can set it to allow the guest to reschedule their booking for a future date rather than canceling and applying for a reimbursement. As you can see here, it says that we would love to have you stay instead of canceling your reservation, and they would simply click the blue Reschedule My Reservation button.
Now that we've learned how travel protection plans or limited warranties work, let's talk about some other benefits to them. One benefit is opportunity cost. By that, I mean, in the event that a guest does get sick and had to cancel, what revenue would you have had for that reservation? Usually none, because we normally feel bad if someone suffers misfortune at that last minute. That's how a travel protection service prevents revenue loss that occurs from a last minute cancellation due to illness. In addition, it helps prevent those awkward moments when you have to enforce stricter cancellation policies and risk a guest leaving a bad review as a result. Another benefit is whether the guest purchases a warranty option like worry-free bookings or not, a travel protection service helps you enforce your current policies. When your guest calls asking for a refund, you can always politely ask them if they selected the travel protection option. I know of some properties that use a travel protection service that say if the guest says no, then they respond with something like, "I'm sorry to hear that you're sick, But because you didn't make it a worry-free booking, we will only refund 50% of your reservation, or whatever your normal policy states. In addition, a travel protection service allows you to compete with the flexible cancellation programs offered by the OTAs and can help improve your direct booking rate. If your business does decide to use a travel protection service to enhance your normal cancellation policy, I recommend you find one that clearly communicates its terms and conditions and provide a link on your website to it. I recommend putting a simple section like this. A good travel protection service will handle the education of your guests about how it works. For example, Worry Free Bookings website has great videos, clear descriptions on what is covered, as well as contact form to reach out to them directly about the status of their claim. This saves your property and staff time and hassle. Your property, of course, can do all of this yourself and not use an independent travel protection service. You could use multiple rate types to do it. But the great benefit of using a travel protection service like Worry Free Bookings is that it can be heavily automated with your booking engine, like I just showed you, which saves you and your staff time and money. In addition, your property itself would be on the hook for all the reimbursements if you provide the service yourself. I'm proud to say that hundreds of properties are using ResNexus Worry-Free Bookings, and thousands of guests are selecting to protect their travel plans. If you'd like to find out more information about Worry-Free Bookings and about how it works, you could visit the website worryfreebookings.com, or if you can go to ResNexus under Solutions and click on Worry-Free Bookings. In summary, guests now expect flexible cancellations as a standard practice. To protect your property from last-minute cancellations, you can update your policies to protect your business from pandemics and government shutdowns. Reduce your cancellation rates by engaging with your guests earlier with strategic and automated text messaging. Offer flexible cancellation options with multi-rate type pricing. And you can protect your business from last-minute cancellations due to illness using a travel protection service or program. I wanted to thank you all for your time today and see if you had any additional questions. And while you're thinking of those questions and putting them through, I wanted to announce our next webinar is on how to improve your pricing strategy with revenue management. If you like this webinar or wanted to see past webinars, you can find them on resnexus.com under Education Webinars. This will bring up all of our upcoming and past webinars. If you're a ResNexus customer and have questions, feel free to reach out to the support team by clicking Support. And you can either call your red carpet professional or call the general support line. And again, with that, I'm ready to answer any of your questions about worry-free bookings.
All right, so as I see the questions come in, I have a couple of them. One of them is when it comes to engaging with your guests via text message, do I need to use a picture with my text message because they generally cost more? And I would say, you can be selective on it. Again, if you're thinking of that guest experience and trying to prevent them from trip stacking, maybe for sure, the one that I would highly recommend that you at least include a picture on is if you offer a special offer or something like that. That way that at least visualizes the offer and draws their attention. The other ones, it's up to you if you want to minimize some of your costs. I have another question that says, do you have to use a card reader device that is linked to ResNexus? So for online reservations, they all happen online and they happen through the ResNexus system, which can connect to any credit card processor that you want to use. You don't have to switch it. Or if you want, we do offer credit card services at a very affordable and comparative rate. So you can take credit card information once the guests arrive through a device if you want, but you don't have to have a card reader device to be able to input credit card numbers into the system. You can take them over the phone. You can take them; they're automatically requested for online bookings. as a requirement. So hopefully that answers your question on that. Another question I have is, does ResNexus worry-free bookings work for, can you make a phone reservation a worry-free booking? And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can. We actually have a little script that's easy for any staff member to read off. You just have to read that script, but you are able to make a phone reservation, a worry-free booking if you would like. The stipulation is it just can't be the same day booking, but if it is that case, it won't show up as an option. It's kind of been dummy-proofed that way. Looks like another question that we have here is, what does a property do if the guest wants to, they purchase kind of the travel protection option on their booking, but they want to remove it? How is that handled? So with worry-free bookings, everything comes down to 14 days before your arrival date. If it's outside that date, you can easily just, if it's before 14 days before their arrival date, you just cancel that reservation, transfer the payment, and then refund the worry-free booking fee. And you can cancel that without. If it's within that time period, then it still is a worry-free booking. Basically, if they don't want to make it do that, I guess you can do the same thing, but I would recommend that you charge them a service fee for doing that. We don't really get that many requests for them to cancel when it's within that 14-day time period that I've seen. Looks like this webinar was pretty clear. I'm going to wait for, got some more questions. Says, can the worry-free booking option be applied after the reservation has been processed? For example, someone booked a few months ago. Can we offer this service to them for an upcoming reservation? So to be clear, you can't take an existing reservation and make it a worry-free booking automatically without the customer's consent. To do that, you'd actually have to call the customer. You'd have to call the customer, offer it as a service, and you'd have to cancel that previous reservation and make the new one. With a limited warranty protection service, it's kind of the same as on your cell phone or TV. You have to make it then and purchase it at that time. And if you don't, then basically the time has passed. Now, if you inform them and you ask them if they want it, then and they say yes, then with their permission, you could do that over the phone. Okay. Another question is, do you allow rebooking instead of cancellation, or can you opt out of that? Is the rebooking done by the guest, or do they have to call or rebook? An option with ResNexus worry-free bookings is that it does work with your booking engine. So there is a setting that you can say allow the guest to rebook, and so what happens is they would just go back to their confirmation email, and if they click on the worry-free booking link that is automatically added to that confirmation email, it takes them to your booking engine specifically for their refund request, and it allows them to either process the refund or rebook for a future date. And they can select the same unit and everything else and rebook for the future date, and that they can do all of that without having to recall the property. So that does save time. So that is an option. It says that we normally run our own credit card payment. Another question is, we normally run our own credit card payments. With worry-free booking, does ResNexus run them for just the worry-free booking part? So when you enable worry-free bookings, it does require, whether this is a policy for other bookings or not, it does require, to make it worry-free booking, it has to collect 100% of the total cost plus the worry-free booking fee up front. So worry-free bookings does automatically collect that money for you as part of it, and that's to ensure that it's covered. So that is kind of one of those conditions, is if you wanted to make it a worry-free booking, you have to pay 100% deposit of everything on that reservation. I have another question that says, what if they put on add-ons like retail items or those different things? As mentioned in that video before, it will cover any retail items or additional things that they do put on when they initially book. If they try to do it while they're on your property, those are handled separately, and only the original booking is covered in that instance. So, for example, I do my original booking and I put on flowers and chocolates because I'm going to a bed and breakfast. That would increase the price. It would increase the worry-free booking fee. And when I went there, if I got sick, I would be reimbursed for all of that, all of those items minus the worry-free booking fee. Scenario 2 is if I get there and I said, oh, I forgot, I'm a guy, I forgot to add the chocolates and the roses for my wife. And I did it then basically they would add on to the reservation, but those would be handled as separate retail items, and only the original booking would be covered under worry-free booking fees in that circumstance. Great questions. It looks like we're slowing down on questions. I'm gonna wait maybe like 20 or 30 more seconds, but I really do appreciate your time today. And if I could admonish you to do anything, if you haven't updated your policies to include government shutdowns and pandemics, as I've been going to large trade shows and different things, there's certain properties that have and certain that haven't. And if you're in control of that, as an owner, I just highly recommend, at the very least, to protect yourself from large-scale cancellations from an unknown event. Please put that into your policies. It's important to have. You never know what might happen, and sometimes you might have, the worst case, like COVID was unexpected. So you might have another pandemic that comes up, unexpectedly, or a government issued shutdown, or maybe you have a large event like civil unrest due to something in your area and the government issues a shutdown. You want to be protected from those things just in case they happen. They're rare, but they could happen in your area. All right, I wanted to thank everyone again for attending. It looks like we're out of questions for today. I really appreciate you being here with us, and I hope you have a wonderful and productive rest of your week. Thank you so much.